Hey guys, it's Brandon Woolum, and today we are checking in with Lee Vasi. How are you, Lee?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. So we got some new music we're going to chat about here in just a moment, but first, this is going to get pushed out to a mostly CCM audience. So I want to make sure everybody knows who Lee Vasi is first. So let's start there. Give a little bit of your story.
Awesome. Yes. So I am a Christian R&B artist. I make music that I always say my music is my life music. I talk about my journey with God, things that I've really been through, and I just sing my heart out to Him. So I'm so excited to be here and maybe be introduced to so many new people.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the new single "Worthy." Only been out maybe 2 weeks or so now. A powerful declaration of self power. What inspired the song?
Yeah, so Worthy is something I wrote for my younger self when I didn't know what God said about me, which is that I am worth more than rubies. In Proverbs 31, he tells us as women that we are worth more than rubies. And I wanted to write a song for that girl I was before I really knew my identity in Christ, and was putting up with things that I shouldn't have been putting up with in relationships, accepting things that were not really love. And then accepting them as love when they really were not. And it's really just something I wrote kind of for that girl who needed to just be reminded of how much God really loves her and how much she's worth.
Yeah, you talked about the strong gospel rooted foundation you have. How did growing up with that influence the artist that you've become today?
Well, definitely, I was exposed to Jesus as a young kid. When we prayed in the house, we prayed to Jesus. We were kind of in and out of church as a family, so I think that uh, religion was something I was exposed to, but I wasn't as much exposed to relationship with Jesus, which is something that came probably about 4 years ago for me. And so when I write anything that I'm writing it from that place of real intimacy with the Lord and things that I know I would not have been able to get out of were it not for Him being present in my life, even when I didn't know he was. And so, yeah, so definitely really appreciative for my parents for giving me that core foundation.
Yeah, you talked about how your music, a lot of it touches on this healing and self worth theme. Do you see your music as a form of ministry in its own way with that type of thing?
You know what's interesting? I definitely when I first got called to do it, I audibly heard the voice of God tell me to do music for Him, and I was really one shocked that I audibly heard His voice at that point in my life, and also didn't know what how I could do that. How someone like me, with the gifts that I've been given and the specific ways that I express myself musically, could be music for Him. And so it's just been so cool to see the ways that songs that I really just wrote from my heart, from my own experiences, have been able to minister to people in their own relationships and in their own journeys with the Lord. So I've definitely grown to understand that it is much bigger than me. And I accept the responsibility, and I'm honored and humbled really to just be able to share my story with Jesus and hopefully inspire somebody else to lean into their own relationship with Him.
Yeah, and a lot of this music keeps heading out into the secular world too. How do you balance that success while staying true to that spiritual foundation?
Yeah, I'm really a family girl. Like I am always on FaceTime with my family. That's something I do every single day. I'm on FaceTime with them, keeping, that real love around me. And also obviously spending time with Jesus and making time for that no matter what I'm doing, no matter what flight I'm on or, what stages I'm performing on, whether they're at Christian events or events that show up in the mainstream. I'm always just so humbled to be able to be used, and I'm fully aware that everything that I have going on in my life is because of the grace of God. And I just always stick true to that.
Yeah, one of those big events we've got you on this year. You picked up a nomination just a few months ago for the outstanding new artist for the NAACP Image Awards. Talk to us about that honor.
Yeah, no, I was so, so honored, and it was such a surprise. And it really is so beautiful to see, conversations that you have with God in private be blessed in public, because that's really what my music is. And the album that, came along with that nomination that I put out last year, really was something that I fully was just me and God locked in, telling my story about Him. And so for it to be acknowledged in such a way, it was really, really special and humbling. I felt so seen by God, to see something that we talked about in private be put on such a big stage in public.
Yeah, even though some of the folks watching this may be hearing your story for the first time, you've been at this for a long, long time. Started back in the day on Broadway, Idol 8 years ago. How have all those experiences shaped who you have and who you are now and the confidence you have as a performer?
Yeah, I have definitely been performing a long time, and in a lot of different areas, right? So I started out doing theater actually when I was 7 years old. Ended up booking The Lion King on Broadway at 9, and that very quickly put me into taking what was my hobby of performing, and making it my goal and my profession, right? Very early on, and so I've had a lot of experiences that really developed me and my craft as an artist, that I take very seriously. I take the music itself very seriously, and when God called me to do it for Him, I took that with even more of a call to excellence, right? Because if we're doing something for God, and representing Him to the world, we should do it with excellence because He is the creator of the universe, and it really is just such an honor to take all the different experiences that I've had in entertainment, and be able to pour it into the music that I do for Him.
Yeah, you've talked a lot in this conversation about how your music it's very honest and emotionally raw. How do you decide how much of that personal story that you share in these songs that get released to us?
That's a great question. And I that's actually something that I consider and I talk about with God often. Like how much of me do you want to use? Right. That's always my question because I really do want to be of service to him and his kingdom and to the people that he's called me to share my testimony with. And so every season is different. So when I first came out with my first EP, From Me to God, which really introduced me to so many people through my song Teach Me, I was at a very different part of my journey. I had recently gotten baptized. I was still in a stage of a lot of shedding from my old life. And I was honest about that. Right. And even now, as I continue to grow with the Lord and I'm in a different season with Him now, I'm always like, God, what do you want me to share? And just, use me every time I have a conversation with anybody, whether it's a setting like this or if it's in my music. I just want to be used how God needs me in that moment. So it's up to Him really what I share when I share it.
Yeah, your background also includes Puerto Rican, Dominican, and African American heritage in there. How does your cultural background influence this artistry that we get out of you?
Yeah, I think culture is such a beautiful gift that God gives us to really reflect His image and His nature. And when I sit down and write a song, I'm always, obviously rooted in my faith, but also I come with real lived experiences of being a Puerto Rican, Dominican, African American woman from the South, right, in the US. And so I think it's so cool to be able to pour all of those experiences and sonic influences that I grew up listening to into music that is centered around Him. So it's a huge part of what I do actually. And my album, Love Me to Life, is a bilingual album that incorporates, Spanish and English and, R&B chords and rhythms with Latin percussion elements. So I'm very intentional about really sharing my perspective as I share my journey with God.
Yeah, I think these past few years, even folks that don't speak Spanish are finally getting to realize just how big of a genre that is, that Latin genre in Spanish speaking music. And the Christian world is really blowing up these past few years with those songs. So love
Yeah.
seeing it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
When a young woman gets a hold of your music on their playlist, what do you hope they see in your story?
I hope they see that there are different options of how to show up as a woman than what the world tells us there are, if that makes sense. I think the media tells us, a lot of lies about what liberation is and what freedom is. And in my journey, I've tried all of those things and none of them were freedom. They actually were bondage. And through my relationship with Jesus, I came to understand that freedom really is in a relationship with Him. And so as I share my story through my music, I hope that women can, find themselves in it, even if we have differing experiences. I think that I'm just super intentional about just showing that I'm a human on this spiritual journey, and I hope that they can learn that they should have grace for themselves no matter where they are in their journey because God loves them anyway.
Love it. The new single Worthy is out there now. What's the rest of 2026 looking like for you musically?
Musically, we're gonna stay in this worthy pocket for a little bit. I'm gonna really lean into that girl I was when I first got curious about God, when I was accepting things that were called love, but actually aren't love, that actually weren't kind and were actually kind of traumatic. I'm gonna be going back and singing from that place to hopefully be able to inspire people who might be in that same place right now to get curious about God, to bring him into your circumstance, no matter what it is. And I'm excited for this new music. It's funny you asked how much I choose to share and how do I choose. This year, I will be sharing a lot and getting very specific about the things that God has delivered me from. So I'm really, really excited to keep releasing music this year.
Yeah, the average viewer of this and music listener, I feel sometimes doesn't understand that the music industry sometimes can just be so tough and tear you down. So if somebody has watched this interview, they've made it through this much of our conversation, what would you ask for them to pray for you as you go through this musical journey of life?
Wow. One, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Um, I would just ask for prayer for continued strength and endurance. And something that I have really learned as a Christian artist is God showed me that it's a one by one thing, right? Of being going one by one, holding hands together in our salvation. Even though we're on stages and we're on streaming platforms and radio, and don't always see how God is using the music. It is real spiritual. There are real spiritual implications to what we do, and so I would really appreciate prayers for strength and endurance as I continue to share my testimony and tell people about Jesus.
Yeah, I love it. The new single from Lee Vasi, Worthy, is out there now. Sounds like later on in the year. We might be able to get some more new music, so be on the lookout, and plenty of other music in that catalog to look up on your Spotify and Apple playlists. Good hanging with you today, Lee.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.